I've had it with being broke, and I've had it with lying. I've had it with being embarrassed over not having any money in my pocket. I promised myself that day that this would never happen again. I picked a day and an amount, and I said, I'll never carry less. It was one of those reasons that still affects my life after all these years. So I now carry a few $100s in my money clip. I do that for two reasons, I guess. One reason is the way it makes me feel. That special feeling of having plenty. Mr. Shove said to me, the first $500 you earn, put into your pocket, not in the bank. It feels much better in your pocket than it does in the bank. I've found that's true. But I also carry plenty in case I bump into another Girl Scout who's selling cookies. I'm ready. I remember walking out of the bank one day in Northern California where I lived at the time, and there were two little girls selling candy right outside the bank for some girls' organization. The first little girl walked up to me and said, Mister, would you like to buy some candy? I said, I probably would. What kind is it? She said, it's almond roca. I said, that's my favorite. She said, wonderful. I asked, how much is it? She said, it's only $2. I thought, it couldn't be. Still $2 after all these years? I couldn't help remembering the Girl Scout and the cookies. I said, how many boxes of that candy have you got? She said, I've got 5. And the other little girl standing there, she was selling candy too. I asked, how many boxes do you have? She said, I've got 4. I said, that's 9. I'll take them all. They said, really? I said, yes. I've got some friends, so I'll pass some around. They got so excited, put all this candy together. I reached into my pocket and gave them $18. Now, when I've got the candy and they've got the money, that first little girl looks up and says, Mister, you are really something. How about that? Can you imagine only spending $18 and having someone look at you in the face and say, you are really something? Now you know why I carry heavy. I'm not going to miss those chances anymore. It was a small goal, just a few $100s, but it had a big effect on my life. I have a dear friend, Robert Depew. Bobby used to be a school teacher in Lindsay, California, the olive capital. After he taught school for several years, he became a little weary of teaching and decided to get into sales. One day, without telling anyone, he quit his teaching job and jumped into sales. When he did, his brother poked fun at him. His brother said, you're going to go right down the drain. You had a good teaching job. Now you're going to lose everything you have. You must be out of your mind. He put him down something fierce. Bobby said, the way my brother acted made me so angry, I decided to get rich.
I believe in bliss of satisfaction. Have you ever bitten into like a great steak and went, oh my gosh, it's delicious? You ever had that happen, yes or no? Did it make you not want the next bite more? Or did you want it more? See, there's a part of your brain, there's serotonin in your brain. The more you celebrate your wins, you celebrate when you're here, you have fun along the way, it begins to train your brain, you want to go to the next level. But if you cheat yourself from the celebration, you cheat yourself from the joy, it's always just a grind. Eventually there's this thing called frying and burnout where your brain doesn't want to do it anymore because it's not pleasurable. It gets no dopamine hit, no serotonin hit, and it wants to stop. You have to be blissfully dissatisfied. I talk about this in one of my audios and my book. My wife's a great example of this. We're complete opposites. I'm running out of time. I'm a super aggressive achiever. My wife, I call my wife, she's easy happy, easy satisfied. If we were living in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere, but we could cuddle up all day long and kissy kissy, she'd be happy all day long. She wears jeans and t-shirts. She could care less about material things. She could not tell you within many decimal points how much money we have. I'm not even sure she knows, other than Bank of America, where any of the money is. Could care less about it. She just loves people, loves life. She's the daughter of a pastor. Her brother's a pastor. She's just a happy person. And she's married to a complete psychopath. But my wife, we've been together for a long time. She's developed some, I love my wife, but I don't like her all the time. The longer, any of you that have been in a long-term marriage here, they start doing some crap, man, that just drives you crazy. Anybody relate to that, yes or no? My wife has developed this very bizarre habit. I'm not sure how it started or where it started, but when she eats pleasurable food, she moans orgasmically. So we'll be eating lasagna at the house, kids at the table, and she just started this a few years ago, and she doesn't even know she's doing it. We'll be eating, how was school today? Great, say the prayer, and then, or like, I'm serious, or like she's eating a brownie. I'm like, that is so weird. Stop it in front of the kids. What is wrong with you? She's like, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't want to even tell you, but like, it's really uncomfortable. Stop it. She's like, it tastes so good. I'm like, babe, we got it. Stop. But she doesn't know she's doing it. So my son's birthday happens. We're at this restaurant and she's hot. My wife's super hot, right? And I say that being married a long time, she's hot, dude. And so we literally walk into this place and there's some dudes checking her out, and I'm Italian, and I was in a bad mood, and you shouldn't look at my wife more than about one time, right? So these guys look at me, and my kids know, now that I've become a public person, I've gotten better at this stuff, but like, you get to look at her once, maybe twice. You turn around with a whole table full of people, come slap the shit out of you, right? Excuse my language. So these guys are looking at her a little bit too long, and they're on the edge. They didn't know it, but they're about to get slapped. They didn't, you know what I'm talking about, guys, right? They didn't know it, but it was getting close. You do it again, I'm gonna smack you. Sure enough, we're at their table next to them. Her steak comes, takes the first bite. They're like, oh! I can't even blame them. I'm like, stop it. So she goes, what, am I doing it? I'm like, yes, you're doing it. My daughter's like, Mom, you're doing it. Sure enough, a few minutes later, she's like, I'm like, this is embarrassing as hell. I can't even go slap these guys. These dudes are literally losing their minds, right? So we leave the dinner, we get home, we're getting ready to do what married people do after a night out. She's in the bed, and I go, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go upstairs and grab a steak. And I'm throwing this thing in his bed with us, because I've never heard you make these kind of noises before. So we're throwing this steak in the mix, right? She's like, and she literally says to me, she goes, it's just so blissful. And I'm like, that's a training, because I'm dissatisfied and you're blissful. And I'm gonna tell you something, there's a lot of validity. You need to learn to be in bliss as you're dissatisfied. That bliss will cause you want to take next bite, next haul, next finance. At that same dinner, my daughter said to me, hey Dad, my daughter's pretty, like she's like me. My son's a sweetie like his mom. My daughter goes, hey Dad, what's up with the midlife crisis? She saw the video, I go, midlife crisis? What are you talking about? She goes, come on, social media, you're growing the beard out, the tight t-shirts, you're going through a midlife crisis. And I go, you know what, you're right, I am. Here's what you don't know. I was going through a young life crisis. When Daddy was 20 years old, I was going through a crisis to get to the next level at 21. I was going through a crisis when I was 28 to be better at 29. I was in a crisis when I was 35 to be a better version of me at 36. And guess what, boo? When Daddy's 55, I'll be in another crisis before I get to 56. And that's a fact. Anybody that knows me, if you want to adopt one of my personality traits, I'm in a crisis to get to the next level.
So what do you do when you're a doctor and you can't check in your own hospital? What do you do when you're walking around acting like you can't catch the flu? You don't get tired. You don't get burnt out. You don't have mood swings. You and her don't have an argument. Your kids are perfect. You phony. That's a lie. You can't raise perfect kids. It don't happen. You don't have perfect relationships. It don't happen. My tongue, my teeth bite my tongue sometimes. They're in the same head. I mean, and there's no warning or nothing right in the middle of eating a hot dog. Just dang. Next time y'all gonna argue, would you send out a memo or something? Because y'all are supposed to be in agreement, bless God. We're supposed to be in agreement. We're supposed to touch and agree on this hot dog. And put all that to the side. That's the salad. Let me say something about something else. I'm almost finished. But here's the interesting thing. Separate and apart from everything that Elijah is going through, God is preparing Elisha to be a support to the man of God. Now, it's going on while Elisha is plowing. Elisha is plowing, the son of a wealthy family, an heir to become the heir apparent to a family that is wealthy enough to have a field to plow and at least 12 yoke of oxen. Meant that they were affluent people. This boy was being groomed to take over a major organization, and all he had to do was keep plowing. But while he's plowing behind the ox, he's frustrated because he has the sneaking, nagging feeling that there is something he's supposed to do with his life that he's not doing. And I don't care how much people pay you. I don't care if you get the corner office at the top of a corporate building. When there's something else that you're supposed to be doing, you're not happy doing it. You're only happy when you found your spot and you're in your place and you're doing your thing. That brings fulfillment and gratification. When you're doing the thing you were born to do, bless God. You don't do it for the money. The money just comes behind the purpose. Provision comes to purpose. The provision cannot be the purpose. You'll never be happy because you make a lot of money. All money does is make you more of what you were already. If you're lustful broke, you can do it better with money. That's the truth. If you're hateful broke, you get money, you can be hateful better. People scared to say anything back to you. Money just makes you bigger at what you were before. Can you live with somebody who has disappointed you? Watch out for people who fight stuff all the time. When you are always talking about something, don't be surprised when you find them warming themselves by the fire of the very thing. It's eating at us. It is not what we are eating that's making us gain weight. It's what's eating at us. It's eating at our rest. It's eating at our joy. It's eating at our marriages. Because the suicide rates are going up while we are quiet and silent and politically correct and dancing all over the world. Our kids are blowing their brains out, and I will not keep silent. I'm tired of short caskets. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life that is not just a straight line, and not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. A lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself when it gets worse. Shame. I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas, and in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome. And he thought that if he got Jesus in an open confrontation with Rome, that Jesus would show his power. And the trick blew up in his face. And he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. We can't tell when our friends turn jealous, when our wives fall out of love, when our husbands stop caring. I'm talking about a guy who couldn't get rid of his shame, so he got rid of his life. I'm talking to somebody out there who has a hard time living with a dark secret. Judas didn't have to hang himself, and you don't have to blow your brains out. Jesus died for your kind of shame, for what you did to yourself, to your family, for what you did to your future. You do not have to go and hang yourself. God still wants you. He still cares about you. Isn't it funny when your name gets bigger than you? When you got a great name and a great person and a great professional and a great the other, and you got a great name, but you got a messy past. Somebody right now is in a situation of fluctuation, and you are not living up to your highest ideals. You smell like swine, but he still wants you. A lot of us don't know what's in us, what we're capable of, because we buy into the myth. And we believe our own headlines. You're a rock about this, but you are scared to death about that.
Hang on. I have Miss Columbia on my talk show. Miss Columbia gave me the highest rating I've ever had in the history of my 4-year-old talk show. T-Mobile called and paid me millions of dollars to do a Super Bowl commercial. A cha-ching. They paid me so much money, I go out there next year and say the wrong name again. You got to wait and see what God got for you. I told my wife, I said, I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. Said had one, they never gave me one. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas in 12 countries, free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month, me and my family absolutely free. See what God do? You got to work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. You got me? All right, next thing I need for y'all to know. This is the third lesson. Quit asking God to make your life easy, because he ain't going to do that. See, people, y'all go to church, man. Y'all got all these scriptures y'all memorized, don't apply none of them to your life. God ain't finna make your life easy. Lord Jesus, Lord, I don't want this on me. Sorry. Lord, take away all my worries. That's you worried. Lord, I don't wanna do this. Lord, I'm so tired. What y'all doing? Quit asking God for that. You gotta have some faith. See, listen to me. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You gotta have faith, man. If you gonna graduate and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you gotta put some faith on it. You can get through with all this here. You're gonna get your degree, and man, I can't tell you how big this is. But it's gonna be a piece of sheepskin that's gonna hang on your wall. You got to go do something. You gotta get some faith in your life. Lord Jesus, I want my life to be easy. It ain't finna be easy. You're gonna lose some loved ones along the way. You're gonna not get the job you want. Somebody on your job one day gonna come in there and hand you a slip of paper and tell you they don't even want you here no more. One of your companies is gonna up and relocate, and you ain't gonna have the money or the resources to go with the company. You're gonna go outside the club one day, your car gonna be gone. You're gonna drive up one day, your house gonna be on fire. Now your house fully ablaze. What is you asking God to take the fire off your house for? Your house is already on fire. Lord Jesus, had them drive my car back up here. Thieves don't return cars. Faith don't make it easy, man.
That's everybody's dilemma, I think, these days. A woman married to a baseball player, as to say, he's going to be gone most of the time. Would that be the ideal marriage? And the answer is certainly not. But should a man follow his talent and his unusual skills? He probably says yes. She says, well, at times I wish he was a banker and not a home run hitter. You know, it's a dilemma for all of us. How to balance it all, make sure we don't sacrifice some values for others. It's difficult for two people to grow at the same rate. One becomes ambitious and one's a little more, let's say, at home. How do you balance that out and make it work? It's never ending in terms of its challenge. A wife who has a career and children and husband and social responsibilities and friends and church and whatever, it's a big challenge. My current heroes are single mothers and school teachers. How teachers have the patience to work with kids and try to get the message across and do a good job. They have my highest admiration. And then a single mother with children. Wow, that's probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. How to balance career, work, job, raise the kid, make sure spiritually, personally, socially they're okay. It just seems almost impossible. But human beings have the unique ability to do the impossible. They make it work. How many stories have we heard in our own country? A mother who scrubbed floors for years and put her kids through college, and now they're all professionals and lawyers and a credit to society. Les Brown's got a great story. A mama who really cared but did the menial stuff till finally he got going and could help. Some people's lives we look and we say, how do they do that? And we think we're a little pressed, and how do you balance career and fortune and all that? Hey, try scrubbing floors to put your kids through college, right? And then you say, hey, my problems are pretty simple and easy. But we all have the push and pull. A woman wants a hero and a successful husband. She says, go conquer the world and be home by 5 o'clock. He says, wow, let's see. How do I do that, right? Would she be happy with half the world, right? If I conquered just half the world and got home by 6. Let's do a little compromising here. But anyway, it is a challenge. When I was growing up, Papa worked and Mama stayed home. I was raised in sort of that atmosphere. Papa figuring out enough to take care of himself and his family. But, those days have all changed. Now the dignity of career, right? I believe, women have equal rights to follow their own star, but then to do what you're ambitious to do and qualified to do and learn the skills to do and still make a relationship work and family and church and society. And it is a challenge. But I think we're up to it. At least we've got plenty of help here on information and books. People that have been through it and said, hey, here's a couple of danger signals. It's okay as long as, but when this, and you say, okay, I appreciate that advice. And sure enough, you're going along and then you say, wow, I remember I was told these couple of danger signals here. Looks like I'm pretty close to that. I better back away. However, make a special note of the two words, take advantage. That is what we must learn to do. Take advantage. Just because spring comes is no sign you're going to look good in the fall. You must do something with it. In fact, everyone has to get good at one of two things, planting in the spring or begging in the fall. So take advantage of the day. Take advantage of the opportunity. And read every book you can get your hands on to learn how to take advantage of the spring. And one more thought, get busy quickly on your springs, your opportunities. There are just a handful of springs that have been handed to each of us. Life is brief even at the longest. The Beatles wrote, life is so short. And for John Lennon on the streets of New York, it was extra short. But it is short. Elton John sings, she lived her life like a candle in the wind. They will take it, unless you prevent it. And that is the third major lesson to learn. Major skill to develop. Preventing the intruder from taking the good. Here are two key phrases to consider under the third major lesson. Number one, all good will be attacked. That's the first phrase. On this planet, all good will be attacked. And don't press me for a why. I was not in on some of the early decisions, so I don't know why. All I know is, it's true. Let reality be your best beginning. Every garden will be invaded. Not to think so is naive. Here's the second phrase. All values must be defended. Social values, political values, friendship values, marriage values, family values, business values. Every garden must be tended all summer. If you don't develop this skill, you will never wind up with anything of value. Last is the fourth major lesson in life to learn. Learn how to reap in the fall without complaint. That's number 4. Take full responsibility for what happens to you. It is one of the highest forms of human maturity, accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you have passed from childhood to adulthood, accepting full responsibility. And learn how to reap in the fall without apology. Without apology if you have done well, and without complaint if you have not. That's the best of human maturity. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's the best. Now, I used to have some problems in this area, way back in those early days. I used to have this list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. To explain, right? Otherwise, you're going to look bad. I used to have this funny list called Reasons for Not Looking Good. I really did. I used to blame the government. You can believe that or not. It was at the top of my list. I had a lecture second to none. The government. I blamed taxes. Look what you've got left after they take everything out. Taxes, that was on my list. I blamed prices. That's easy, right? You walk into a supermarket with $20 and come out with this little half bag of groceries. That was on my list. I blamed the weather. I blamed the traffic. I blamed my car. I blamed the manufacturers. I blamed my negative relatives. They were always putting me down. I blamed my cynical neighbors. They were just selfish, looking out for themselves. Wouldn't loan me any money. I blamed the community. I blamed the economy. Hey, that's a pretty good list for not doing well, isn't it? I thought it was a good list. I will never forget this one day. Mr. Schoaf was very kind, but he was also very blunt, which was helpful for me. If he hadn't been blunt, I would have missed some things. On this particular day, with a kind of question mark look on his face, he said, Jim, just out of curiosity, tell me how come you haven't done well up until now? Excellent question, right? Well, so I wouldn't look too bad, I decided to go through my list. How I ever had the nerve to do that, I don't know, but I did. I went through the whole list, the government, taxes, prices, everything. He was very patient and let me go through it all. When I finished, he looked over my list very carefully and said, Mr. Rohn, big problem with your list. You aren't on it. How brilliant and how true. When I went to work for him a few months later, I learned very quickly to tear up my list of reasons for not looking good and threw it away. And then I got a fresh piece of paper and I put one word on it. Me. There's a Black Heritage spiritual that says, it's not my mother nor my father, nor my brother nor my sister, but it's me, O Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
That little piece of hood logic was a little bit too much for her. People live wonderful lives with multiple degrees. Well, I'm not one of them. You've got to write everything down, y'all. It's an amazing thing. And let me tell you something else. Can I tell you something else? You do not have to change who you are to be successful. You have to change some things about you, but you don't have to change who you are. God created you very, very unique. I don't know if you all know this, but it's about how many people on earth? What's the number? About 7 billion? Listen to this. Do you know it's 7 billion people on earth? Ain't none of us got the same fingerprints. Who do that? Who can make 7 billion patterns and ain't none of them just alike? That's your God, your creator. That's how unique he made you. He made you so unique, you got your own set of fingerprints. It's probably been, I don't know, some billions of people that already died. I don't know. I'm just glad I ain't one of them. Billions of people have died. Guess what? Ain't none of them had the same fingerprint either. God made you uniquely you. See, I'm who I am. I don't use proper grammar. That ain't my thing. You know, when I got on talk show at NBC, you know, they sent this lady to work with me. What is it? A linguist? That's my son right there. I got him college educated because I ain't. See, I got money. So everything I ain't, I hire who is. And so they hired this linguist to work with me. And she came in and set her books down in my office. I said, ma'am, who are you? She said, I'm your linguist coach. I said, oh, cool. I always wanted to make that kind of spaghetti. This is a true story. This is not a joke. This is really a true story. I had no idea what this lady was talking about. So I'm sitting up there and she says, what is that? She said, I'm here because NBC feels if you want to be successful in daytime television, you have to speak more eloquently. So I'm here to work with your grammar. I said, oh, I ain't finna do all that. She said, excuse me? I said, I ain't finna do all that. She said, could you say that slowly for me? I said, I ain't finna do all that. L-A-T. I ain't finna do all that. She said, that's exactly why I'm here. I said, ma'am, what is you talking to me about this for? She said, because your grammar won't sustain a television show on daytime TV. And so I'm here to help you become more grammatically correct. I said, oh, ma'am, you wasting your time. I ain't even bothered with all that. She said, excuse me? I said, I ain't really bothered with all that. She said, could you say that for me slowly? Sure can. I ain't really, I ain't really about all that and I ain't with it. She said, oh my God, this is worse than I thought. Now I'm enjoying myself because I'm really not fitting to do this class with you. I promise you I'm not. Oh, this white lady. Ooh. Mr. Harvey. Oh, that's cute. Stomping don't really scare me. I've been shot before. That don't. Mr. Harvey. Woo. I tried to act surprised. Mr. Harvey. Woo. Tried to just give her something. She said, you have got to stop this. You have got to speak more grammatically correct to be a success. I said, to be a success, I got to speak more correct. I said, let me ask you something. Which one of these sound best to you? I am broke or I'm is rich?
Somebody help me in here. Touch somebody and say, I'm ready to work that thing. I'm ready to work that thing. I'm ready to work that thing. I'm ready to come up out of my fear and my doubt and my worry. I'm ready to work that thing. I'm ready to work every day and every opportunity and every door he opens. I'm ready to work that thing. I'm ready to work that thing. In fact, touch 3 people and say, work that thing, work that thing, work that thing. Work it. Work it in the mission fields. Work it in the church. Work it in the ministry. Work it in the music department. Work it in the children's ministry. When you get back to your church, work that thing. It may not be big like this, may not have all the equipment like this, you may not have a lighting system, all you got is a flashlight. But baby, work that thing, work that thing, work. I want to get you so fired up that hell gets nervous when you pull out of the parking lot.
you.